Okay, so we talked about the major things in SBS 109. It's time to talk about the rest of it, right? So some small things, and I think some more important things, not as major as Fujitori's sword rank, which is a Supreme Great Blade, and Ace defeating a Warlord, and Oda showing the Warlord, which is, bro, that was groundbreaking. But here we go. And this source is from Arthur, Library of Ohara. He broke everything down, so just gonna go through it. And the first thing he talks about, the timeline of the Empresses of Amazon Lily and Hancock's life. So the question was, Elder Neon said the former Empress of Amazon Lily also died of lovesickness, but isn't that Shakiyaku? Why would Elder Neon lie? Oda said, I believe you misread the line. She was not lying. The empresses before her suffered from it too. She meant the illness, not dying. Truth is, since ancient times, for some reason they do not understand. Empresses and warriors from this country have died of lovesickness. Those like Elder Neon or Shakiyaku have avoided this by leaving the country. So then we have a timeline. We see the former empress, which is Gloriosa. She left her country. Former empress Shakiyaku, who left her country. She died of illness. And Hancock, she has, the sickness with Luffy at this point, but it remains to be seen her fate. So it's an interesting timeline. A lot of people are now speculating that Toritoma is Luffy's mom. The issue with it is that if that is Luffy's mom, that means that she did find love, right? By being with the dragon. I don't know. It would be a cool thing to throw in. Like if Oda wanted to throw a random character to be Luffy's mom, which is Toritoma, using someone like Toritoma would make sense, but it wouldn't make sense considering that she died of the illness, which means that her and Dragon just had a baby with no love involved. I don't know how people would feel about that, knowing that Luffy was made, but it wasn't out of love. So it was just weird things like that. I don't see it, but the speculation is fun enough to talk about. Arda does go on to mention that Gloriosa probably suffered from lovesickness. For someone who was on the Rocks Pirates, we saw she was on Whitebeard, so we gotta wait and see. Next, Oda talks about Shiki, all right? Talks about Shiki and Strong World. One of my favorite chapters, chapter 0. So here we go. Oda says, well, even though I could try and find a way to make most movies canon, if I did, readers would be obligated to watch the movies to get the full story. So I don't like to consider them part of canon. However, with Strong World, I was the one who came up with the story and ended up using Shiki, a character I originally intended to be part of the main story, as a character for the movie. However, if it wasn't for this being a movie, I would have never had Shiki eat the 4-4 no Mi. I had a rule in my mind to not include characters that could fly or float freely in the sky. It's a pirate manga after all. So I would have never wanted to use such a power. I let it slide since it was for a movie, but then I still incorporated him in canon, and so the fruit is now canon. It's a weird case of re-importing stuff back into canon. So Oda said a lot here. How I'm breaking this down is, well, I had a plan with Shiki. It was a story I came up with in Strong World. I just used Shiki. I gave him the 4-4 no Mi for the movie. I ended up using him in canon, and so now he's kind of stuck as a canon character with that devil fruit. He doesn't really touch on if Shiki's going to be coming back. I understand giving a character that power could be overwhelming. Something I don't agree on. Movies being canon. Oda, you gotta give it the times, buddy. This is the times. This is what people are doing nowadays. This is what gets fans hype, knowing that their favorite story has incorporated part of canon into a movie where they can go to theaters and get that quality and enjoy it. So hopefully someone goes to Oda, because Oda, he's pretty much old school. Goes to him and says, yo, Oda, I know you don't like that, but look at what Demon Slayer's done. Look at JJK, Haikyuu, Chainsaw Man is doing. Everybody is kind of incorporating some form of canon movie just because fans are really hype about it. And I think fans would not mind, especially One Piece fans, going to the theater to enjoy something that's canon. And even still, Dragon Ball did this where they had a canon movie and still incorporated it into the anime. So that's the only thing. For Shiki though, Oda's being vague about him. I think he's definitely going to come back, but his importance, it's somewhat waning. And it seems like Oda doesn't have a strong plan for Shiki. It's more about, he was just supposed to be for the movie. Now I incorporated him into canon. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It seems like he's just going to see how it goes with Shiki. I don't know if Shiki ever becomes a mainstay like we would want him to, but I would not doubt Oda with Shiki just because he went out of his way to make someone like Shiki canon. So that could tell us that he has a plan for him as well. Next, Oda confirms the power of the Toshi no Mi. It cannot indefinitely keep you young and stop you from dying. They would eventually wear off. So that's Bonnie's fruit, where Bonnie and how she affects living things, it's not for a long time. So, it's not indefinite. We've seen this, so this did not need to be confirmed in my opinion, but sometimes I gotta take myself out of things because I look at things differently because I'm reading One Piece so much. I catch on to certain things that the typical One Piece fan probably would not, so I get it. Oda does confirm the Nikyu no Mi, the Paw fruit, Kuma's devil fruit. It can only transport you or others to places the user had previously been to. Kuma traveled a lot, which is why he had a lot of options now. So we saw Kuma going to all these different places in the past, which to me confirmed somewhat that fact. However, I like this clarification because, well, it makes sense. You've been been there, so you have the calculations of how long it would take to get there. It is insane though, because you have to know exactly how long it would take, exactly how far it would take to get there. So I like this confirmation. It's small, but I think it's important. Next, we have a review for Vega Cola. It says, the moment you drink it, as the pungent feeling of ginger hits in and the aroma of apples and lemons spread through your mouth. The ashwagandha and ginkgo leaf extract activate your brain so much that the ideas won't stop rushing out. So for me, it seems like it's something that stimulates your mind. All that extra stuff, it's interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I would like to try Vega Cola. It sounds good, but it sounds like it's more stimulating than anything. Ginger? Apples? Lemons? Interesting. Oda does confirm as well that Alpha is in fact the younger sister of Khalifa, both being the two daughters of Lasky, former CP9 member. This is a bit unusual case though, as both CP members are orphans. That way they don't have any emotional attachments that could hinder them. So I guess for these people, they have kids and they just throw their kids into the system. More than likely, they have a farm for CP agents. And of course, they want to use the kids of former agents because that pedigree already exists. So it makes sense. Taking away the attachments also makes sense, considering that they have to be agents that are void of emotion and they have to make a lot of tough decisions. The less emotional attachments, the easier it is to make those decisions. So Oda talks about the CP9 members, how they became a part of CP0 during the time skip. So we know of the cover story. So here's Oda's answer. After CP9 lost at Enies Lobby, their cover story took place. CP9 was blamed for failing the Enies Lobby mission by Director Spandam, and they all disappeared somewhere. This was the beginning of their training to become even stronger. Meanwhile, Spandam somehow rose to become the director of CP0 thanks to his father Spandine pulling the strings. This is where Lucci and the others uncovered a new plot by the bigwigs of the underworld and former level 6 prisoners who were in league with Spandine and destroyed this organization to stop their infiltration plan. As a result of this incident, Lucci and the others returned to being intelligence agents as part of CP0. Spandine lost his authority and ended up on his sickbed, so Spandam ended up being Lucci's gopher boy. Wow, okay. So Lucci exposed Spandam's dad. That's interesting. And then Spandine just ended up being on his sickbed and Spandam ended up becoming Lucci's gopher boy. Wow. That's interesting context. Like, we know everything after the fact, how they were chased and they were training, etc. But this adds so much more context to how they got back into CP0. Okay, good stuff. So Oda also points out the other members of Bonnie's crew who stuck with her until she got captured by Akainu and Blackbeard, Yogyo, Tots, Part, and Potato. So yeah, they all grew up and ended up being part of her crew. This is a joke SBS question. The reason why Marcus Mars is almost never sitting during Gorosei meetings is because he always forgets his homework. So he's punished like a student would by standing in the hallway. So, I mean, look at these pictures. He is damn near always standing. That is funny. I just thought he was just tall and like standing. Arda does also drop some speculation. Hanafuda, the warlord that Ace beat, his speculation are it's a type of playing cards, just like the names of all the Kaido subordinates. So with this information, he goes on to talk about it here, but I instantly think of him being aligned with Kaido, which means that he was the one who collected the devil fruits for Kaido. Okay, so Arda talks about it here as well. That's interesting. He goes on and says, so Hanafuda may have been secretly working for him to collect Zoan fruits, particularly ancient Zoans, which might be why all the Tobiroppo have ancient Zoans. So it seems like Hanafuda, where maybe Kaido was his benefactor and he was just working for Kaido, then he ended up being a warlord because it also aided Kaido. Who knows? He may have been a liaison who established some point of contact between Kaido and the world government. We know he's working with Doflamingo as well. So Kaido having a subordinate pulling the strings for him is not far-fetched. I like that speculation a lot. Also, Toritoma, like all Kuja, she's named after a flower, and this Toritoma is known as the Torch Lily. Fugetsu Kizaburo, the swordsmith who made the blade for Fujitora, would be a part of the Fugetsu clan, one of the ruling clans of Wano. The only other Fugetsu that we know of is a daimyo of Kibi, Fugetsu Umusubi. Also, Fujitora's sword, being one of the 12 Saijo o Wazamono, the Yakuza Keizen, is named after the film Shin Heitai Yakuza Keizen, starring Shintaro Katsu. The actor Fujitora was designed after. So Oda is tying everything together masterfully. I love it. Great SBS. I think Oda definitely nailed it here. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to be mad that Oda revealed important stuff in an SBS because I don't care necessarily. It's information is information. It ties things to the One Piece story very well for me. My issue comes in for swordsmanship and how I would like for it to be more important, but it's not really a big deal. Information is information, like I said. Great SBS. Can't wait for more. So guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about it? Did you like this SBS? Most people did. It's led to a lot of spirited debates online. And so give me your thoughts. Like the video, subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.